Hello, I'm Marissa from Marissa's Manic Life, and I'm here to share tips and education about mental illness, mental health, and my experience with living with bipolar 2. So today I really want to give the definition of bipolar and talk about what that means to me. There is a general definition of bipolar of having super extreme highs, which is called hypomanic or manic, and then extreme lows, which is considered depression. Within that definition, there's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Now, when I originally got diagnosed, did not get a diagnosis of which bipolar I was because they weren't defined yet, I am considered bipolar 2, which means that bipolar 2 has hypomanic and then bipolar 1 has manic. So manic I can't speak for because I've never fully experienced it. It tends to lead more towards a higher feeling, potentially hearing voices, hallucinations, a lot more of euphoric experience. Some have related it to drugs such as ecstasy and shrooms and stuff. That's what a lot of people have potentially related it to. But I can only really define what bipolar 2 is for me, and some people may have it differently, but for me, what it looks like is shopping sprees and spending too much money. I've been promiscuous. I've gone and bought a new car. There's just things that I've done with it that tend to be a lot more extreme. Many people with bipolar tend to struggle with money and drugs, doing promiscuous things, sometimes doing illegal things, and that's usually during the phase of, euphoric, which is hypomanic or manic. And so that can lead to very dangerous things. And it also is kind of like a drug. So it feels very euphoric, very happy. You just kind of have this full body blissfulness, like everything's going to be okay. You don't have doubts. And so you really end up with this euphoric experience, and it's a drug, and it's a natural drug. And so it's really hard for a lot of people to get on medication because they want that drug. And so, that's one of the struggles that people have to deal with bipolar. Some people have kind of related it to the saying as high as a kite, because it feels euphoric. It's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever experienced, and it's kind of hard because a lot of people chase that drug, and it's a very natural occurrence, and so it's definitely one of the struggles. Now, on the reverse side of that happiness, ultimately what goes up must come down. So when you go down, you can hit this deep, dark depression that really just feels like, there's no way that things are really going to change. You just have hopelessness, and you just feel like nothing's going to be okay. There's no light. And even if there's light logically, you have an amazing life, you have nothing to be depressed about, it doesn't mean you can't be depressed still. Just because of the chemicals in your body, that's your life does not necessarily mean that you can't be depressed. It's a chemical reaction. It's not your fault. Now, there are times where it's situational depression. There's two different types of depression. So the chemical depression is where your mind tells you that you're depressed. It gives you these negative thoughts of, I'm not worth it, nothing's worth living for, you just want to die, And it is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. And then there's the regular, just natural depression that everybody can have, such as going through life events, going through a divorce, losing a loved one, losing a friend, and it's the same with happiness. There can be the happy, euphoric, manic, and you could be on this high, and it could be nothing chemical. It's just pure happiness from life, or it can be pure depression because of situational. And it's kind of got two sides. So sometimes it's hard to tell if you're depressed or manic from chemicals or natural. It's kind of just one of those things that you just don't know And so people with bipolar have so many different reasons why they're happy or depressed. And one of the bonuses of being bipolar is a lot of them have a lot of creativity. With all this emotion, all this, feelings come out creatively. And so a lot of singers and actresses such as Mariah Carey, Demi Lovato, Mel Gibson, and Ernest Hemingway, they've all taken that creative and emotion and turned it into amazing work. And that's one of the things that people need to remember is it's not a life sentence of living in a box or not having that outlet of emotion. It doesn't mean you can't have a job, you can't have this. You can have so many things even living with bipolar. Now for me, I love sitting in a cubicle, working from home right now, but I love working my 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday. That brings me joy. Knowing my schedule and having that structure and having the control over that brings me joy. And so for me, that's what my dream is. I just want to live a normal life and have the white picket fence and go to work and retire early. But that doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, because we're all still individual people. And just because we have bipolar doesn't mean we're told what we can do and you can only have one type of career, you can only have one type of, goal. We're all different people, and just because we have a disability doesn't mean that dream has to change. Now, obviously, if that dream is making you unstable, then I would suggest not doing it, but, to each their own. So we all have to live life differently. We all have to figure out what's important to us. So for me, I really don't like being unstable. And so I take my medication. I do tons of things that help me stay stable, which includes getting 8 hours of sleep every night. I do really structured sleep schedule, and I have everything so I have control to make sure that I'm stable. And that's what that looks like for me. But each person's stability looks different to them. And so we all have to understand that stability and bipolar looks different for each person. So I can't experience what you're experiencing because I'm not you. And it's the same with people who aren't bipolar. We can't estimate what they can and cannot do, and they can't understand necessarily what we're going through. And so while I agree with psychologists and social therapists and all of those, it's interesting, it's helpful to get a perspective of someone with bipolar, and that's what I'm hoping this is doing. One of the other things that's important for me is my support system. And so I have an amazing church family, I have an amazing family, and I have amazing friends. And I'm very open with my bipolar, and so they're all aware of what's happening, and they're all aware of what I go through. And so, having that support system has really helped me stay stable, because when I've needed help, when I'm depressed or any of that, and I'm going through a med change, I have a lot of people who are willing to support me. I've gone to people's houses to do a med change because I need to be monitored. Because one of the negative things is the medication. And I've done many med changes. One of the scariest moments of my life was during a med change. I live alone, and I thought I didn't want to burden anybody with me changing medication, and so, I was depressed, and so I ended up taking the new medication in my house alone, and I ended up having an awful reaction, and I woke up on the bathroom floor not sure how I got there, with bruises on my face. And it was scary. And I don't wish that on anybody. And so if you're going through a med change, please reach out to someone. It is so hard to reach out. I am not humble. So you just have to do grit. And it sucks. They suck. If you know someone who's going through a med change, it sucks. Please pity them. It's awful. So if you're a support system and you're watching this to learn more about bipolar, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting someone. It is not easy. I do not make it easy for anyone to be in my life or support me. I don't. I can be mean, I can lash out, and sometimes it feels like there's a war going on in my head, and it comes out and lashes at people I love and care about. And it's not fair. And it's not fair to you. And you didn't ask for this. You didn't ask for your child, your friend, your loved one, your husband, your wife to have bipolar and to be yelling at you. They don't want to be yelling at you. They don't want bipolar. Most people don't. And I just want to say thank you for supporting them. Because it means a lot to someone with bipolar to have a support system. It saves lives. It keeps people stable. And I just want to say thank you. Now, if you are someone with bipolar and you're struggling right now and you're just looking for resources, maybe you just got diagnosed. I've put some resources in the description, but please also find a therapist. Find someone to manage your meds with you. Reach out for help if you're struggling, because it is such a big difference living a stable life. Right now you may be in the deepest, darkest sea, but you can do this. You can get help. You can get better. I mean, my dog alone is one of the main reasons I'm alive today, for multiple reasons. You know, my mom, my sister, they've been there for me. My parents, everyone. Having that support system saves lives. One of the important things about saving lives and staying stable is taking your medication. Trust me, it sucks. Medication sucks. I don't want to do it. If I didn't have bipolar, I wouldn't be taking medication. My hair has thinned out, my teeth are dry, I got dry mouth, they got tons of crazy side effects, gain weight, all of that stuff. Nobody wants that. But I would rather live my life with thinned hair and tons of cavities than not take my medication. Because for me, being unstable is awful. I feel out of control. I just feel like, you know, you just feel like you're in the middle of an ocean, middle of a hurricane, rain, and on a little bitty boat. And you just have to go with the wind, you know, go with the ups and downs of the ocean. And I don't want to live that way. So I take my medication. And I also do natural therapy to help, you know, reduce the medication I have to take. And I put in the work to go to therapy and all of that. And I'll talk more about that in a later video, but it's important to take that medication, or to at least work with your support system of therapists and psychiatrists and family to really discuss that, because living with bipolar is hard. It's not easy. I know sometimes I make it look easy, but it's super freaking hard. It's super hard. Lots of work. Lots of tears. I cry all the time. So, and I just want to thank everybody for watching this video. Whether you've supported me through my whole life, or you're supporting someone with bipolar, or you're struggling with bipolar, thank you. And there's resources below in the description, and if you want, you can reach out to me on my Instagram page. Please feel free to reach out to me for prayer, or if you need help, guidance. Just reaching out for help can really change a life. And please hit like on this video and hit subscribe and hit the alerts button to get alerts about new videos from me regarding mental health, mental illness, and my experience with living with bipolar 2. Thank you and have a blessed day.